So we are talking about an elite service for an elite group of people. We talked about their yachts and their homes. Um, how does this translate to the rest of the people in the organization? Because the system administrators got the keys to the kingdom as well.
Yeah.
Or in the Harrison Ford movie, the bank branch manager has the keys to the safe, right?
Yeah.
Can you extend the services you offer to other key personnel?
Yeah. So, I mean, the folks that we are always protecting are going to be the board, the C suite. The board would be the 10 people, C suite could be the 20, the executive leadership team. Now, that actually could be, 10 to 200 people. And sometimes the senior leadership team, which once again can be several hundred people. But there's always a little dot, dot, dot there. And key personnel. So, if you are a defense company, defense contractor, you might want to protect the head or the top 3 people within the patent group. Because guess what? When you develop the new laser ranger on that missile or the new technology for that missile or whatever, the engineers are going to have to do, and it's probably going to be classified technology at first. They're going to have to describe it to the patent attorney who's going to go file things and all the rest because the company needs to keep it, maintain, and grow its value.
Now we're in a new realm, and AI is rising to the top forefront of the deepfake world, but it has many implications, I think, for executives who are going to be impersonated some way or another, either for brand reputation or for the direct, advanced business email compromise with a face and a voice.
I mean, things have exploded here since literally, I think it was like February 4th or 5th of 2024, when that first announcement was made, the deep fake of the CFO for some like banking financial firm in Hong Kong, $25 million out the door. I mean, wow. So what are we seeing? We're number one seeing that attacks as it relates to normal attacks, whether it be smishing, whether it be phishing, whether it be targeted through their network, all the rest, that AI is actually just, it's like giving it the little extra kick. It's the extra vitamin C that was needed to get over the hurdle. And so we're seeing that add in new dimensions, the speed to the attacks, the speed to the results, much faster there. So we're actually seeing that time and time again. Second, on the digital and data intelligence side of things, you no longer have to do any research on anyone. You literally just type in their name, boom. You have all their email addresses, all their phone numbers, all their family members, all their information and physical addresses in one foul swoop. You literally have just gotten rid of 5 days, 3 days of reconnaissance of the target. It is taking 5 seconds. The third thing we're seeing is deepfake attacks. They are here.
Welcome back to the Security Strategist podcast, your roadmap for evolving cybersecurity. I'm Richard Stiennon, and I will be your host for this episode. I'm the Chief Research Analyst at IT Harvest. I'm an author, trusted advisor to vendors, VCs, and private equity firms. Today, we're joined by Dr. Chris Pierson, who's founder and CEO of BlackCloak. This episode, we'll be talking about why digital executive protection is a key part of today's security strategy. We also discuss what leaders need to know to stay ahead of these new threats. AI is quickly changing how cybercriminals work. It is mixing digital and physical threats, putting executives at risk. From scams that impersonate CEOs to the increasing use of personal lives and home networks, the attack surface now goes way beyond businesses. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Good to be here. Good to see you again.
Yeah, and it's great to have you. Tell us a little bit about how you came to start BlackCloak.
I mean, look, I had this problem when I was the Chief Information Security Officer. How do I go and protect my board members, my C-suite, and other key executives in the company, but in their personal lives, right? They and their families were being victimized. They were victims of cyber attacks, criminal attacks, identity theft, all the rest. Their public and personal profiles were all out there. And that attack surface kept on expanding, but it really wasn't something that my team or I was able to or capable, because of legal and privacy reasons and technological reasons, right, really go ahead and tackle. And what it really did was it necessitated a different view on things. How do you go ahead and protect those individuals and their family members in their personal lives so that you, the company, remain protected, right? If somebody goes ahead and targets them or hacks them, or worse yet, has a physical attack or threat against them.
Right. I've loved following BlackCloak along the way. And the very first time I heard you talking, it sparked my interest because we always use as an example of trying to increase the cost for the attacker, that you just want to, push them. First step is push them to other targets, right? Make it too expensive to go after you. But if they're bound and determined, as modern targeted attacks are, eventually the cost of a digital attack is going to get so high that they're going to go after your key personnel, right?
I mean, it just makes good business sense in the cybercrime side, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about, should I attack a company that's spending 10, 50, $100 million on cybersecurity, or should I go attack the 10 people's images online who's the C-suite? Should I attack them at home where they're spending $5 or $10 on cybersecurity? Well, the answer is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Go attack them in their personal lives. That's the soft underbelly of the corporation.
Yeah, I think Sun Tzu would agree with, going after the weak spot.
Exactly.
So, but now we're in a new realm, and AI is, rising to the top forefront of the deepfake world. But it has many, many implications, I think, for executives who are going to be impersonated some way or another, either for brand reputation or for the direct, advanced business email compromise with a face and a voice. Tell us what you're seeing in that whole realm.
I mean, things have exploded here since literally, I think it was like February 4th or 5th of 2024, when that first announcement was made, the deep fake of the CFO for some like banking financial firm in Hong Kong, $25 million out the door. I mean, wow. So what are we seeing? We're number one seeing that attacks as it relates to normal attacks, whether it be smishing, whether it be phishing, whether it be targeted through their network, all the rest, that AI is actually just, it's like giving it the little extra kick. It's the extra vitamin C that was needed to get over the hurdle. And so we're seeing that add in new dimensions, the speed to the attacks, the speed to the results, much faster there. So we're actually seeing that time and time again. Second, on the digital and data intelligence side of things, you no longer have to do any research on anyone. You literally just type in their name, boom. You have all their email addresses, all their phone numbers, all their family members, all of their information and physical addresses in one foul swoop. You literally have just gotten rid of 5 days, 3 days of reconnaissance of the target. It is taking 5 seconds. The third thing we're seeing is deepfake attacks. They are here. All of these executives, right? You go to GE's website and you look at their executive team. They've got the high res image, medium res image, low res image. They have the files of the latest stock calls and all the rest. You have the voice print. You have inevitably some video on there. Everything is right there for the taking. Deepfakes are in. Deepfakes on your corporate executives are happening. And that whole executive grouping needs to be able to confirm that they are who they say they are in and amongst each other. So we're really, really saw this explode in 2025. And in 2026, there's going to be no slowdown.
I actually experienced I guess the ChatGPT told me it's called payment redirect attack. And I know that goes on a lot with, making your mortgage down payments or transferring the entire thing from your bank, from the sale of your house. And I had somebody do that to me. They intercepted the party I was working with email, Google Mail. They were monitoring our conversation, and there was, a contract to be signed and a settlement to be paid. And I came within one click of wiring the funds to the wrong email address. And just imagine if they could have easily gone into, let's verify with a Zoom call, and then deep fakes beyond it. So
this is the old, remember back in 2015, the huge spike you saw in business email compromise scams, 2015, 2016, the IC3 alerts on it. The fact of the matter is that those same methods work today, but here's the kicker. AI is able to go ahead and say, hey, we have our hooks into 100,000 email systems. And when you see poignantly a wire, a payment, an ACH instructions, escrow, any one of these 100 terms, right? Not talking about machine learning, we're talking about AI. Anytime you see that in and around a deal, immediately escalate, entertain it, do this, write the email back, divert the funds. You're able to literally set it and forget it to a point that was never achievable back 10 years ago. Now, fully automated.
Okay, now I got chills.
Yep.
Um, so let's talk about the home, infrastructure that executives have for cybersecurity. A lot of organizations deploy a firewall to the executives' homes so they could be on the network. Basically, it's VPN in some way, but they feel like they're on the network all the time. But yet the security teams, in my experience, neglect the fact that all the other devices in the house are on the network and sharing, and great avenue for malware, for instance, to get into the system. What do you see, and what do you recommend for companies to do?
Yeah, so I mean, the simple thing here is that the home is the new battleground, and I've been saying that now for 7 years, 8 years. The home is the new battleground.
Like your
It
prophet
is,
in the desert.
but I mean, it continues to expand, right? I mean, like now the louvers are on automated tracks. Now right, everyone's got a water spring system or sprinkler system. The pool system is, or the heat pump is, or the right. It's like the amount of stuff that's being added into the home increases the attack surface to nth degree. Everyone has gone ahead and redone their home offices, right? COVID was a big, massive boom for the home construction industry. I mean, huge efforts done there. We're never putting the genie back in the bottle on this one. We just aren't. We got to get past it. The types of devices they have there, systems, Crestron, Savant, Control4, Lutron systems for home control, the home video camera systems, the smart home aspects. We're not talking about an Amazon Alexa. Yes, that is part of it. But we're not talking about a IoT device that's $100. We're talking about the home becoming a living, breathing entity for these extraordinarily highly paid individuals, 20,000, 30,000 square foot homes. That attack surface is them and their family members. And we're seeing, as a result of all of this, that really is a focal point on a network side, as well as focal point in terms of different vulnerabilities that are there. It kind of moves into the point of this being the front line of cybersecurity for a corporation. They have to think about it differently. It's no longer that the perimeter is your office network, your office cloud, your office whatever. It is the executive's home, the executive's network, the executive personal devices. That is where the demarcation line has moved out to. Just is what it is.
Yeah. And, people own $20,000 homes quite often have private jets too that they jet around in, and they're going to conduct business from those jets.
They're conducting business on their jets. They're conducting business on their yachts and their boats. They're conducting business at their, right? These people have 3 to 5 homes on average, right? Wow. So they have their main home in New York City. They got their summer home down in Naples, Florida. They have their ski home in Aspen. This is not an attack surface. This is an expanded attack surface.
Wow. So when impersonators execute an attack against executives of an organization, how do you rank the severity of, a straight financial theft, company or personal reputation attack, which tends to cause the longest lasting damage?
So I mean, like all the above potentially. The fact of the matter is that the reputational risk out there is one that extends out to the entire family, right? To the husband, to the wife, to the spouse, to the kids, to the significant other, right? That entire sphere becomes something that is if one person is implicated, one person is, it doesn't have to be anything salacious. Just normal, right? Family stuff. But stuff that's out there that can be extorted or can be released, personal private pictures, personal private moments, right? Sure. Private moments. First time the CEO, and their husband become a grandparent to their kid's child and stuff like that, taking all the pictures and then some. These are things that are not out there in the public limelight, shouldn't be. So there is that risk there in terms of reputation. There's definitely the risk in terms of intellectual property. Look, the fact of the matter is that executives are always on. The executives have all the exclusions. Stuff is transferred back and forth. The account takeover that we are seeing of their personal Gmail account rates number 1. Personal account takeover, number 1. And actually, even think about it this a little different, Richard. right? We're not just talking about the executive, we're talking about the board members. All the board members are on their personal email address. And I know that CISOs like me will say, but I gave them a company email address. Yes, and so did I. And I know how much it was used, and so do you. And the fact of the matter is that they're on their personal Gmail account. It's what they're using for the board books and all the rest of the stuff. The fact is that there's a reputational risk, there's an intellectual property risk, there is a money financial risk in terms of attacking them directly. There is definitely a travel risk in terms of their physical persona of where they are. Post Brian Thompson, tragic murder, Brian Thompson in December of 2024. This is really up the game there in terms of executive protection on a physical security side, but the two are conjoined. If you know where someone is because of their Google Calendar or their travel plans in their personal life, then you can go ahead and get them. This really becomes a must solve, a must have for the company because it does implicate the company. And at the end of the day, the chief information security officer and the chief security officer are going to be solving it. Doesn't matter where it happened. CFO of the company, CEO of the company, COO of the company has a charge card, a new bank account open up in their name. You're solving it. Now, the best thing to do is for you not to solve it. The best thing is for somebody else to solve it. But we see all of those happening and causing those risks. And the fact of the matter is that, yes, still to this day, we also do see that risk of ride the lightning back into the company. You get a hold of the device of theirs that's in the personal network. You get a hold of that personal home network. The corporate device goes on it. You can ride back in on those rails back into the company. And that becomes squarely in the CISO's corner.
So we are talking about an elite service for an elite group of people. We talked about their yachts and their homes. How does this translate to the rest of the people in the organization? Because the system administrator's got the keys to the kingdom as well.
Yeah.
Or in the Harrison Ford movie, the bank branch manager has the keys to the safe, right? So how do can you extend the services you offer to other key personnel?
Yeah, so I mean, the folks that we are always protecting are going to be the board, the C-suite. The board would be the 10 people, C-suite could be the 20. The executive leadership team, now that actually could be 10 to 200 people, and sometimes the senior leadership team, which once again can be several hundred people. But there's always a little ... there, and key personnel. So if you are a defense company, defense contractor, you might want to protect the head or the top 3 people within the patent group, because guess what? When you develop the new laser ranger on that missile or the new technology for that missile or whatever, the engineers are going to have to do, and it's probably going to be classified technology at first. They're going to have to describe it to the patent attorney who's going to go file things and all the rest, because the company needs to keep it and maintain and grow its value. And so there are different key persons in the company. It could be some of the sysadmins. It could be some of those key individuals that have information. It could be the head of investor relations. Right? If you want to know what's coming down the pike, that's a good place to go. So we do also protect those quote unquote key individuals. I will tell you this. It definitely includes the executive assistants, chief of staff for that.
I was just going to ask that, because we all know,
they got everything.
You'd rather have Warren Buffett's executive assistant than Warren Buffett's stuff, because he doesn't, he's
I was about to say, if you have Warren Buffett's executive assistant or chief of staff, you have Warren Buffett.
Right.
That there is no separation. And so that key personnel becomes something that is, look, BlackCloak is extensible to that. It's just a software license, the same way everyone buys software and technology today. It's just, what are your risks? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to protect? And we specialize in that area. We're not going to go to your 10,000 employees. That's not what BlackCloak does. We are digital executive protection, right? A marketplace and category we created, we coined, the industry leader of it, and that is where we focus. That is why we're so highly specialized there. But it can include some of those ... key personnel.
Sure. So you've got 60-second takeaway to deliver a message for CISOs, CIOs, CTOs, and I guess in your case, the CSO. What would it be and why?
I mean, I think that, look, the fact of the matter is that the world has changed, especially post Brian Thompson. The world has definitely changed, but it changed post COVID, right? Or changed during COVID. The home is a new battleground. Your board, your corporate executives, your C-suite executive leadership team members, whatnot, they and their families pose a uncontrolled, unmitigated risk back to the company. And cyber criminals, nation states are attacking there. They have been for quite some time. You need to go ahead and shrink that attack surface from a privacy perspective. You need to make sure that, right, malware, viruses, et cetera, are not going to get into the home network, home devices, or where your computer goes. You need to protect that home network to make sure that when you put your computer on it each and every night, it's safe. And you need to have that super high-end concierge, right? These people are in the know. They need to be treated that way. And as a result, it's simple. 2026, right? 2025, this became a must-have. 2026, we're well beyond that. Go ahead and go to the BlackCloak website, blackcloak.io. Go ahead and look at our digital executive protection platform. Take a look at the framework that we put out, some 14 key tenets. Download it, take the risk assessment, figure out where you in your organization are today. Figure out what holes you want to go ahead and cover. And then BlackCloak will work with you on covering off those areas. But it's time to go ahead and take that first step to learning more, understanding more, and assessing where you are and figuring out where you want to be. And hopefully that's one step ahead of the cyber criminals.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was great. Also, thank you to everyone listening. We hope you took a lot away from today's podcast. As Chris said, for further information, head on over to blackcloak.io. We'll be back next week with another episode in our podcast series. Until then, make sure you subscribe to this podcast on all major platforms and follow the conversation on our socials at EM360Tech on Twitter and LinkedIn. And for more great daily content, head over to em360tech.com.